and welcome back to More Approved. I'm James, and today I'm going to show you how you can start your cucumber seeds or any other seed in paper towels. Now obviously this is not growing in a roll of paper towels. So the method that I use to start seeds is old school. Old school as in you probably learned how to do this in 3rd grade. You take a paper towel, you moisten it, then you set your seeds on the inside, you fold it together, and you put it in a little Ziploc baggie. Now I usually store this right underneath my light, so that way it has a lot of heat going to it. You could also use a heat mat if you wanted to start these. After they've sprouted, I usually take and put them directly into soil, into a planter, or I'll put them into a little peat moss plug. And then I soak that peat moss plug in a pH neutral solution. So basically you take tap water and you make sure it's neutral. I usually do it at about 6.5. You could do it at whatever you want, but I find 6.5 works out pretty good. So this is going to be very basic and simple from start to finish. Any of you guys can do this. You don't even need the peat moss plugs. You can do this in just direct soil and then use one of these little containers, or if you have one of the clear plastic ones, you could use those as well. Now these cucumber seeds have only been in here for about 36 hours now. And as you can see, they've sprouted and the leaves are already coming out. They've already shed their skin there. You don't want to keep these in oxygen for too long because that will have an effect. So if you can see that, that should be pretty good. This next one will be easier to get in there. That one hasn't come out quite as quickly. At this stage, this is the easiest to transfer it into the plug. So you just take your plug, take your seed, push that down on in there. We're going to set that one aside. The rest of my seeds have not sprouted yet. This is a Calabrese pepper plant, Italian pepper plant, and this is a Moskvich slicing tomato. So those will probably take another couple of days to do. And when those sprout, I'll just do the exact same thing to these guys as well. So now we have this nice little container, which should hold these little plugs. Very easy, and it's important that you take and clean out your container. You don't want this egg container to be dirty, so go ahead and disinfect that with like a disinfecting wipe or something along those lines. But I usually like to take this one step further and then put a little bit of potting soil on the bottom. It'll help retain some more moisture. But I find when those roots start looking for new stuff, this soil will hold a little bit more moisture. So if I forget about it for a day, or if it gets really, really hot in my grow room, that I have a little bit of a barrier as far as not letting it dry out. Now all we have to do is take and add a little bit of water into that soil, hydrate it a little bit, and that's it. These are ready for me to put under the light in my grow room. Now ideally you'd want to take and put a clear plastic container over the top of these to retain some moisture, but inside my grow room they'll be just fine. Now for watering, I usually just use a little dripper, and then I'll just take that dripper and then soak down my plug and saturate that. And after it doesn't absorb anymore and it's gone down into that soil, I know they should be pretty much good to go. And I'm probably gonna have to give these water once every day, and I will have to check and make sure that they're not too close to the light and getting burnt out. Another tip is if you don't have a grow light and you want to start these out, you can actually just use a CFL bulb. Just get it really close to the top of it so it has a little bit of heat emitting off of it, and that will help these mature pretty quickly as well. So let's go ahead. Set these right there. That seems okay. Hopefully it doesn't fall. Then I'm going to take the rest of my seeds. There we go. Now I'm going to check back on these in a couple of days. This is day 1 of being planted. So here's an update on my seedlings. The cucumber plants, which I had transplanted 2 days ago into these nice little peat moss plugs, have already outgrown those little containers, so I'm actually going to transplant those into their permanent homes. And I also had a whole bunch of the Calabrese hot pepper plant sprouts, so I've got seeds in there with little shoots coming up. These ones have broken the surface already with their first leaves, and the 2 down over on the end, these guys over here are my Moskvich slicing tomatoes. This cucumber plant, he's just getting way too much heat from this light. He's too close by, and he was starting to dry out a little bit. But we're going to go ahead and transplant these 2 cucumbers into their final resting places, so to speak, and then we'll do updates on these guys throughout their life cycle. Hello, my little cucumber plant. It is time to transplant you. Yes, it is. We're going to put you in your final home. You're going to make a lot of cucumbers for me. It's going to be great. Let's go ahead and do that. Now the final home for these cucumber plants are going to be in these fabric bags. I was considering doing the crack key method for one. However, I'm not going to do that this time around. I may grow one of the pepper plants there or one of the clones off of one of my tomato plants, but for now I just want some production out of this and I don't want to have a lot of input with it. So I'm going to go ahead and use a 50-50 mixture of the Happy Frog and the Ocean Forest, get these bags filled up to pretty much just at the top, and then I'm going to take and drench the bags with water just to make sure that all that soil is nice and moist. Now it's time to wet it down. All right, everything's looking pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and pre-soak this soil and then we'll get our seedlings into place. When I filled this up, it was 3/4 of the way full, but as you can clearly see, that compacted down after I pre-soaked it, which is why I did so. Same story over in this guy, so we're gonna go ahead and top these back up and then stick our plants in. Take a nice section here, and look at those roots. That's 2 days in this little peat moss pod. This guy is definitely itching to grow. And you don't want to compact this down too much because cucumber plants like some loose soil. And to keep these guys from drying out, I'm actually going to cover this with a little bit of plastic wrap for the first day or so, just to make sure they're in good shape. All right, let's do a quick update on our seeds. These 3 right here are more Calabrese Italian hot pepper seeds in this little dome here that came off a camera I just picked up. Worked out pretty nicely. There are 2 more Calabrese pepper seeds, and then those last 2 right over on the end are Moskvich slicing tomatoes. And another 3 to 4 days they should get their real leaves, and then another few days after that I'll probably transplant those into something else. Just have to keep them nice and watered until then. We'll take a look over here. So we'll swing over this way, and we're going to take a quick look at our cucumber plants. Now these are the Diva parthenocopic cucumbers, so they're self-pollinating, which is really great. I just took a little bit of plastic wrap, put that over the top. It's got a real leaf setting in already, and it's grown within 2 days of me putting it in here, another inch above where it was before. So from seed, this is 10 days. So that's why I start my seeds in the paper towel, because I know exactly when they need to be transplanted. Now I waited a little bit long to get them into another container, and I know I should have done it in a smaller container, but this will work out pretty well for me. Now this guy was way too close underneath that light, and just burn it out a little bit is too intense for it. But it has shot out some of the true leaves, which is great. So this guy is going to be a little bit behind and stunted compared to the progress of this guy. In another couple of days, I can go ahead and take off this plastic wrap on this guy. All in all, I am extremely happy with the progress of those cucumbers. Again, within 24 hours, they had sprouted in that paper towel. And then I got those directly into a peat moss plug. 2 days after that, I got them into that container right there. So 10 days grand total, and they're doing pretty well. So hopefully they will continue to thrive and grow and flourish. So that is the update. My seedlings are progressing along pretty nicely. But thanks for watching, everyone. I'm James. Till next time, see you then.